A moment of silence for everyone will just put their head down. Thank you. And now we'll stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'll get the pen to myself later. Approval of the agenda, please.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you, sir. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All those in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
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 Thank you, Mike. Did you raise your hand?
I did.
And now we'll move straight to the meat of the meeting, and that is the superintendent selection process. Ms. Morris has contacted the School Board Association at our insistence, and she has some supporting documentation here. I think she's going to give me a 2-minute summary of that.
Good morning. At your request, I contacted Allison Schaefer with the North Carolina School Boards Association. As some of you may recall, she conducted the search the last time you all filled the position of superintendent. They are very active in searches across the state and have, I think in here, somewhere in the nature of 140 searches going on. That they have assisted with or currently assisting on. So they're very active in this process. Allison Schaefer, as all of you know, is the general counsel for the School Boards Association. Oh, I'm sorry. And she was the past president of the National Council of School Attorneys, and so she is connected statewide. I think they brought in, for one of the superintendent's searches that they did, the 2013 AASA National Superintendent of the Year in Mooresville. So they have good connections. I think that they would serve you well. There are obviously lots of other search firms out there that if you want to consider other search firms, that is an option, and we can certainly put out something to do that. I have checked with Grant Fitzgerald because it's professional services. You're not required to do an RFP. So if you want to go to the School Boards Association and move forward in that way, you can. If you want us to do a search for a search firm, we certainly can do that as well.
It's just like buzzing. So,
Do you have any questions of Michelle at all?
okay, I need you to listen.
Okay, I would like to beg your indulgence and change the agenda just a moment. I forgot to add that I think we need about a 2-minute closed session. Am I correct? And we'll put that, let's put it after board comments. Or no, let's put it after this. A 5B, if you don't mind. And can I have a motion for that?
Motion to amend the agenda and close session.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor of that? Thank you. I'm sorry I overlooked that.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we immediately engage the North Carolina School Board Association to begin a superintendent search with the goal of having someone in place by July 1st, 2016 for the new school year.
I have a motion on the floor.
Hey, John, can you repeat the motion?
We can. Motion that the motion was that we use the North Carolina School Board Association for a superintendent search that would start immediately and conclude in a July 1st goal of concluding in July 1st of this year. And that's the motion currently on the floor.
Thank you.
I have a question, Mr. Chairman.
We have to have a
Is there
second.
my second?
We have to have a second before we even begin discussing this option. Okay, well,
Do I have a second?
No, we don't.
I thought,
So we're gonna let that die for lack of a second.
well, we gotta have a second.
You got it?
I'd like to make a substitute motion that we engage the North Carolina School Board Association to begin a search for superintendent without a date specific to have a superintendent in place.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion that has been changed. It's the same motion with the exception of a possible target date for completion of the search. Am I correct in that summary? And I have a second. So now we can discuss it all we wish.
Okay, I have a question. Now, I know that in reading this, as part of this, we have to rely on them to kind of tell us what the process is and how long it takes. There's certain things that take certain times, or is it we tell them 30 days and they just breeze right through? I mean, from my understanding, we have to see how busy they are, what they have going on. Is that?
And, you know, obviously there is this, you know, they have only so many staff, and they will, you know, they will put us as you know, they will prioritize you the best that they can. But I don't think that they're at this point able to guarantee any specific time frame. And you've also got just timeframes that are built into the process, posting timeframes, background check timeframes, all of those interview timeframes that are gonna have to take place as well.
I may interrupt for a moment for a technical bulletin. We're having a little trouble live streaming, but we do have audio, and the live stream will be posted at the conclusion of the meeting, is my understanding at this point. Thank you. Back to the
Okay,
conversation.
so I would like to say that I would like to not delay and keep this moving forward. If there's I don't wanna say no end date, because then, what does that mean? A year from now, 2 years from now?
Can I get at least some head shaking that we will, in all probability, use the school board association for this search, which will
Yes.
come to somewhere in the $25,000 range, estimate.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody, I'm just looking for some common ground so we can start forward. Because if we get that far, we're over a pretty big hump, I think.
Mr. Chair, I think it's a general concurrence that we're gonna use school board association. As far as any, goals or hard deadlines, I concur with the vice chair. I think we need to have some realistic, goals to shoot for time-wise. I mean, you've got a new superintendent coming in with a, new budget, and new year, school year startup before him, so, be it July 1st, August 1st, or whatever, I think we need to provide some type of concrete date when we ask these folks to do the search for us. And that's typically the way most contracts work.
I want to agree with that too, and just, you know, talking to other counties, I'm from the eastern North Carolina, so, and I have a lot of friends, across the state, and I'm aware of at least 7 different superintendent searches that are going to be underway, multiple retirements, in other counties. So I definitely agree that we don't need to put a time limit on this, because we need to do this right and take our time and just realize that there's at least 7 other counties that are going through what we're going through.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I would like to intentionally take our time. It's my thought process that with a very important board election coming up this November, with 6 of the 9 seats up for election or re-election, I think it is prudent to allow a new board the leeway to select the best superintendent they think.
Frames,
they can work
all
with.
of those interview timeframes
So I
that
think
are
we
gonna
should
have to take
purposely
place as well.
Take our time.
I may
in the
interrupt
search
for a moment
process.
for a technical bulletin. We're having a little trouble live streaming, but we do have audio, and the live stream will be posted at the conclusion of the meeting, is my understanding at this point.
Then a new board can be seated.
Thank you. Back to the
Okay,
conversation.
so I would like to say that I would like to not delay and keep this moving forward. If there's I don't want to say no end date, then
And
Does
it's
that
prudently
mean
but
a
expeditiously.
year from now, 2 years from now?
Not to have the system that is
Can-
leading the state.
Can I get
Not have
at least some heads shaking that we will, in all probability, use the school board association
quickly, not
for this search, which will
rush.
Yeah.
come to somewhere
Expeditiously.
in the
So that's why I think the
$25,000
original
range
motion I made that we needed to have somebody
estimated.
and put a date.
Mhm.
So
Whether that be July
everybody,
1st, whether it be August 1st, whether that be September 1st.
I'm just looking for some common ground so we can start forward.
When we say this
Because
is
if
when
we
our
get that
goal
far, we're
is,
over a pretty big
which
hump,
we're
I
going
think.
to,
Mr. Chair, I think it's a general concurrence that we're going to use school board association. As far as any goals or hard deadlines, I concur with the vice chair. I think we need to have some realistic goals to shoot for time-wise. I mean, you've got a new superintendent coming in with a new budget, new year, school year startup before him. So be it July 1st, August 1st, or whatever, I think we need to provide some type of concrete date when we ask these folks to do the search for us. And it's typically the way most contracts work.
I want to agree with that too. And just, talking to other counties, I'm from Eastern North Carolina, so, and I have a lot, across the state, and I'm aware of at least 7 different superintendent searches that are going to be underway, multiple retirements, in other counties. So I definitely agree on this because and take our time and just realize that there's at least 7 other counties that are going through what we're going through.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I would like to intentionally take our time. It's my thought process that with a very important board election coming up this November with 6 of the 9 seats up for election or re-election, I think it is prudent to allow a new board the leeway to select that they think they can work with. So I think we should purposely take our time in the search process and allow the elected board seated in December of 2016 to make the actual selection.
See, I disagree. That's the case of every 2 years that a new board can be seated. And are we then to say that a new board can never work with a superintendent that a past board has elected? So I think we owe it to the citizens, the students, and the teachers to do this prudently but expeditiously, and not to have the system that is leading the state not have a full-time leader put in place
Just leaves me to say,
quickly,
let's don't
not
July 1st on that.
rushed,
If you're
but
flexible to
expeditiously.
August.
And so that's why I made the original motion I made,
I
that
don't
we need to
think there
have
needs to be a
somebody
date. I think we just
and put a date in place.
expeditiously.
And whether that be July 1st, whether it be August 1st, whether that be September 1st, I think we need to put a goal date in place when we say, this is when our goal is, in which we're going to
Preconceived ideas about when you're gonna put a superintendent.
have a superintendent in place.
As,
And
Ms.
again, it's a
Brown
goal.
said, if there are other
And
searches
do we
going
miss it
on
by
across the state
2
right
weeks?
now
Do we miss it by a month? We may,
country,
but I still
you
think
want
it's a
the
goal
best
we need to set
candidate
so
for
everybody
this-
is
for
marching
this
towards that
district.
date.
And so you're gonna be competing
Well,
against
I'd
other
like to say that the
districts.
reason
And you decide,
I'm
okay,
not
this is the
concerned
person
about
we want. There are
trying
five
to
in
wait
five
till a
counties.
new
We wanna throw
board,
that- our
or
offer
it's
out
not
there.
about
So we
the
get that person
board,
before you may
it's not
say,
about us, it's about the
everybody we like
children,
got
it's
scooped
about our
up, so we need to
educators, it's
extend
about
it. So I think that you
consistency
really need to be
among our
flexible
school.
so that you can
The
find
fact
right
that we
person.
just had the lowest
And
dropout rate
Allison
in
and her
history,
team will
that
guide
we
you
have
through
high
that
graduation
process.
rates. We
They
need
will
to
guide you
keep
through an
that
interim
full
process
steam.
if that's what you
Anything
all
we do,
decide
as
to
long
do.
as we're in the
Be it an
interim
internal
mode,
candidate or an
things
external
kind of
candidate.
get
They will help
wishy-washy. So
shepherd
I
you
want that to
through
be
these
clear, that's why I
procedures.
want to go
And
full
so
steam
I think
ahead. I
that
don't want
since your goal
to
is to find the best
necessarily
person,
put a hard date just because I
your
hadn't
mind's
talked
open
to School Board Association.
or
I think it's
extended
imperative
whichever
that we
way you
start
want
the
to
school
go.
year with a new superintendent or as close to it as possible so that we can keep what we have going, the greatness going. That's my goal. It's not about our board. It's not about the 6 new seats, about, I've heard a lot of people say that when they get on the board, well, I'm new, I can't do this, I can't do that. So we have 6 new people. They're gonna immediately jump on and try to learn the way of the board, the way of the budgets, and a superintendent search, which is a lot of work. I have not participated in a superintendent search, but a board chair of a nonprofit, and it's a lot of work. And I
You know,
think that it
I
might
think
be a
it's
little
different
unfair to
depending
do to
on
someone
whether
who's
you
really
want,
brand
you
new.
know, how you want the process to work. And
So
I
I
think
do
that when they put
want this
Dr.
to
Ellis in
move
place,
forward,
it was
with a
close,
goal
but
of
we
getting it
had
done
6 months,
quickly.
because Dr. Davis
I
announced
just
in January.
don't know that I wanted to put
and
in a
we didn't-
motion
and
a
he wasn't
hard
leaving
date,
Until June 30th.
because
And it took that
that just might,
time to get it done.
that's just me.
And again, the date I put forth was not, it was a goal date. It was not a make or break date, that if we, we're gonna pick somebody by July 1st or bust. It was a date
But
that,
now I think there's gonna be more.
that's
than
our goal.
that.
And
So
when you
I think there's gonna
put
be
something
juggling
to the school board association, it's to get them to understand kind of where our head's at. So they know, and maybe it's August 1st, maybe it's July 1st, maybe it's September 1st. It's
And the
set.
fact that you're flexible just leads me to say, let's don't put July 1st on that if you're flexible to August.
But there needs to be a date.
Then we
Well,
just,
can
I don't
we-
think there needs to be a date. I think we just
Well, can I just
expeditiously.
say that this might depend on the search firm too? And it is my understanding, Ms. Morris, can you tell us what you understand?
Well, and I was just going to caution you all not to have any preconceived ideas about when you're going to put a superintendent in place. As Ms. Merrill has indicated, there are other searches going on across the state right now, and obviously across the country, and you want the best candidate for this district. And so you're going to be competing against other districts, and you may decide, okay, this is the person we want. They're a finalist in 5 counties. We want to throw our offer out there so we get that person. Or you may say, everybody we like has gotten scooped up, so we need to extend it. So I think that you really need to be flexible so that you can find the right person. And Allison and her team will guide you through that process. They will guide you through an interim process if that's what you all decide to do, be it an internal candidate or an external candidate. They will help shepherd you through these procedures. And so I think that since your goal is to find the best person, I would keep your minds open to quick or extended, whichever gets you the best candidate.
Well, I will say this, that I don't want to wait.
Right.
If that will clear this up, I do not want to wait. I do not want to just set an interim and then start in December. So I will say that I do not want to wait. I want to start the process today forward.
And just through
I have a question, Ms. Morris. Since all of this is new to all but one person on the board, how long does it generally take to put the applications or the bidding process, well, not bidding process, but put it out there, put a closing date on getting resumes in and things like that? How long does that generally take?
You know, I think it's different depending on whether you want, how you want the process to work. And I think that when they put Dr. Ellis in place, it was close, well, we had 6 months because Dr. Davis announced in January and he wasn't leaving till June 30th. So, and it took that time to get it done.
I might add, I can't imagine doing it in less than that. I think at the time, there was only one other superintendent search going on in North Carolina. I think, I'm not certain. But now I think there's going to be more than that. So I think there's going to be juggling. I think certain candidates are going to show up on more than one school board's radar. So I would caution us not to look at anything inside a 6-month span.
And I think that's a good point, though. If there are searches going on, we don't want to delay and have everybody else search, find their candidates, and then we're left with no candidates. So I think it's another point to make in that regard.
That might be less than desirable. I think we need to find the best person for the position, and that's
Well put. I think you are correct. I think there is something to be said for making a decision as soon as possible. But I also am caution you not to rush the process.
And that was, just to make sure, that was never my intention to rush through it. I want to make sure this is done prudently and that we don't throw it off at the first person that comes in the door, obviously.
Mr. Chair, part of my concern was if the School Board Association is so busy with other searches, do we want to particularly go that way? I would like to have some feedback to them, see if they can accommodate. If not, we may need to examine other options. But I think we need to provide them with somewhat of a target date to deliver what we need to start looking at. I mean, we don't have to make a decision, but I'm hearing all these other searches going on, and I want to make sure that instead of being like just one small piece of a giant pie, that our folks are
Get started.
dialed in on what we're looking for.
Mr. Stewart, I think you bring up an excellent point, so I did some background checking on that. Michelle, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Start our search now for a superintendent.
North Carolina School Board Association currently only has 3 on their radar. And just through conversation and talking to other people throughout the county is how I found out about the other retirements.
Those were my comments.
So I think
That was not
they,
part of the
North
motion.
Carolina School
The
Board
only part of the
Association,
motion- the motion
currently
was to start the
it's
search
3
with the
for them.
North
So
Carolina School
I think
Board
it's the
Association
sooner
without a
we
date-
start communicating with
without a
them, the better.
specific target date to have someone in place.
I'm not sure I know they don't have all the searches that are going on in the state,
And mine
A
said-
but I
comment
don't
for
know the
discussion,
exact number,
not
and
part of the
I
motion.
trust that's probably accurate.
Ms. Morris, do you have any information about any
So
other search
do you
firms
agree with that
that you
motion
can
at this
share
point,
with
or
us?
I don't know, I know that there are other search firms out there. I've not had personal experience with any of them, but I certainly am glad to do some research for you all.
After this meeting, we could instruct Ms. Morris
If that's
to
up.
approach the School Board Association to begin a search for us.
Well,
John?
No
Yes,
specific
Mr.
May I?
Desmond.
in mind, but also
Yes, I agree that
without
we need to start on this search right away.
looking at
That
things. And then she will
we
come
need
back
to
with us
do
with
our
particular-
due
I think
diligence.
they come
We,
back, I'm not mistaken, with
we need to be
request period. They want
as
several,
expedient as
we'll probably have to
possible. It'd be
have another
great
meeting to
if we had
decide,
someone in place
what
prior to the
characteristics we'd
start
like to
of
see in
the next
superintendent
school
and
year.
put them into some sort of hierarchy
But
out
I
there
don't,
in the
I
process.
agree with some others.
So
I don't
it
want
is a
to
little
have
bit
a
involved,
date
and then we have to go back to the School Board
pushing us
Association
into a
with that information.
decision
And at
that might be
point,
less than
they
desirable.
put
I think we need to
together,
find the best person for the position,
a,
and that takes longer than
request
so
for
be
a
it. There
superintendent.
probably needs to be a date by
Put it
which, if Ms. Schaefer is guiding us, shepherding us, that we say if we don't feel like we're gonna, be in place to have someone by the beginning of the school year. We need to be thinking of what that interim strategy needs to be when we need to start, thinking about that.
At your next meeting. Give you some timeframe.
Can I make a
Or at
second
least have put
amendment?
together
That-
some
that- how you do that?
documentation.
Well,
I think
he
if
made
this
a
motion passes, then we might want to discuss a motion for how.
No,
Your motion died,
he
but
amended
his
it.
motion was seconded, so that motion is on the floor, so if you can amend that motion. I'm sorry, I had my mic off.
Especially with all board
Oh, I
members.
didn't-
You can ask for a friendly amendment to that motion, but we have a motion on the floor. That's why we're
I'd like to
discussing.
make a friendly amendment to get started with the School Board Association, with talking with them, getting a timeline,
Any other
and
comments?
work toward, start our search
So at this
now
point, we
for
have a motion on the table,
and not
and we
wait
can vote on it.
until
If there are
December.
no comments.
Start the
I
search.
think that was my motion.
Well, then you said, though, your motion said,
Please raise your hand.
no
Say aye.
date, and then you said you wanted to wait until December.
Those were my comments. That was not part of the
All those
motion.
opposed?
The motion was to start the search with the North Carolina School Board Association without a date, without a specific target date to have someone in place.
Questions that we can answer. She knows
I was just expressing my,
Right, and mine said
a
I wanted
comment
to.
for discussion, not part of the motion.
So we are instructing Michelle, I want to make sure we get this rolling the way we want to roll.
So
We're instructing Michelle.
do you agree with that motion at this point, or did you have an amendment to it?
Well,
or-
I just wanted to make sure,
Let's
I
think
know
on it a little
because,
bit.
yeah, because it's his
Come back with
comments
us
that
with
he wanted to
information she
wait
wants.
until December, but it's.
Right now, we have a motion to approach the School Board Association immediately. I would say after this meeting, we could instruct Ms. Morris to approach the School Board Association to begin a search for us
Disagreement with that.
with no specific end date in mind, but also without any delay
At this point,
to begin
I would like to.
looking at
go to
things.
closed session.
And then she will come back with us with the particulars. I think they come back if I'm not mistaken, with a questionnaire. They want several. We'll probably have to have another meeting to decide what characteristics we'd like to see in a superintendent and put them into some sort of hierarchy. I'm trying to remember the process. So it is a little bit involved, and then we have to go back to the school board association with that information. And at that point, they put together
Okay, I have a motion, and who was that?
request for a superintendent and
And that was my second, right?
put it where,
Okay.
on which websites or media
Yeah, they'll
that
post
we're
it in a
searching at
variety of
that point.
Since
sources.
we have Mr. Guzman on the phone.
And all of the
possible to just ask everybody to-
resumes that come in will go to the school board
So we can do a
association.
closed session right here.
And I could ask if you'd like for her to have one of her staff
We don't have to
at your
unplug
next
him and
meeting,
move it.
give you some time frame
It is-
information,
it is
or at
my
least have put
estimation
together
that it
some
should not
documentation
take
for you
just a
all.
few minutes, folks.
Well, I think if this motion passes, then we might want to discuss a motion for who we want to come and what we want to hear, because I think it would be very beneficial to get as much help as possible from the school board association, especially with all board members having never chosen a superintendent before,
Correct.
other than me, who probably forgot what he had for breakfast this morning. Any other comments? So at this point, we have a motion on the table, and we can vote on it if there are no more comments. All those in favor of accepting the motion the way it's presented, please raise your hand and say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Two. Okay, at this point, I would suggest that we come up with a few things, or maybe Michelle would like to ask us some questions that we can answer. She knows the process better than I.
I don't have anything right now.
You don't have
I'm
anything?
sorry.
So
I wish,
we are instructing Michelle. I want to make sure we get this rolling the way we want it rolling. We're instructing Michelle to call Allison. Ms. Schaefer will come back with us, and she's the expert in the field, come back with us with information she wants and bring it to us in a timely fashion.
I'll ask her to have something to me within a week.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
I was gonna say, when you talk to her, let her know that we are moving.
Is anybody in disagreement with that? At this point, I would like to go to closed session for a few minutes before we come back for comments. I'd like to go to closed session pursuant to Chapter 115C, Article 21A of the North Carolina General Statutes to prevent the disclosure of privileged personnel information. Do I have a motion? Do I have a spill?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion, and who was that? And that was my second, right? Okay. All those in favor, please raise your hand, say aye. Aye. I hate to do this, but since we have Mr. Guzman on the phone, would it be possible to just ask everybody to leave so we can do closed session right here? Is that all right? Yeah. Because then Mr. Guzman I'm not on. Welcome, we're back. I told you it wouldn't be just a few minutes. We're up to board comments. Do I have any? Hearing none, I'll go to announcements. Do I have any?
Move to adjourn, Mr. Chair.
That's the magic word I was looking for. Do I have a second? I do. Ms. Merrill, is that right? Ms. Harrell. Thank you. All those in favor of adjournment, please raise your hand and say aye. Aye. There it is, folks. It's a wrap.
Mr. Desmond?